Hello everyone, welcome to another video. It's Friday morning for me today, and I decided to do something that I haven't done in a few months. I decided to dust off the old rings. I looked at my log. My last ring workout was July 11th. You can actually see I uploaded a short doing some ring muscle ups. And even before that, I kind of stopped ring training in May of this year just to refocus back on basics, to focus on push-ups, pull-ups. That's it, handstand push-ups a little bit. So, you know, once in a while I wake up in the morning and my workout is feeling kind of stale. I want to do something new. So I dust off the rings and get some rings training in. So I thought that, hey, I'll bring my camera along. I'll show you guys what I do on the rings. Mostly I'm just gonna do ring muscle ups today. They are by far my favorite ring exercise. So I'll do a few sets, I'll film. I haven't done it for a while, if you remember, so I don't know how it's gonna go. My all-time best is 9 reps of ring muscle ups. I never quite got to that 10 reps. I probably could have had it, but I would, you know, I don't really like training to failure, and I would get to 9 and it would be like, can I get 10? Can I not? I'm not sure. And I just wouldn't go for it. But, you know, haven't trained rings. Let's get some sets in. Let's see what it looks like. We're gonna have some fun. I hope you guys enjoy the video. Looks like I got 6 reps. It's not bad. I think it's pretty good, especially for not training them for a while. If I start training them regularly, I might even be able to smash my PR. So I'll tell you guys a little bit about my experience with rings. So back in the day when I was in Chiang Mai, Thailand, I just trained on the bars. I would do push-ups, dips, bar muscle-ups, and pull-ups, chin-ups, right? Just the basics. And one of my buddies really wanted me to try rings, and in my mind I always thought that rings are not as good for building muscle because of the stabilization required. Now this is kind of, you know, it goes against conventional wisdom. Most people will tell you that rings are better for building muscle, but in my mind, because of the instability, you just can't push as hard. Close to failure, you'll have your stabilizer giving out first before your actual target muscle group. But I literally had no choice when I came to the Philippines. There was no calisthenics park anywhere in my city. I really don't want to go to the gym. I don't like going to the gym. It's just like the environment is not really for me. There's always very loud music, and the music usually sucks. And yeah, like I'm over the gym. So I had to figure out, okay, how do I train in a place with no calisthenics park? Gym is not an option. You know, you can see in my videos now I got a doorway pull-up bar, but I didn't want to get one of those. So I thought, okay, you know what? I'll listen to what my friend said in Chiang Mai, and I'll buy myself a set of rings. And I bought a set of rings in March of last year, so March 2024. And for a full year, maybe even more than a year, I just trained on rings. All my pull-ups were done on rings. All my dips were done on rings. I learned how to do the ring muscle-ups. And the only thing that I would still keep from the basics is the push-ups, but I just didn't do them as much. And here are some of the benefits that I got from the rings. My form improved on all the exercises across. If you guys look at my older videos from a year ago, a year and a half ago, I was, you know, it's sad to say, but I was kind of cheating some of my movements. I wasn't locking out. I was kind of like doing almost full ROM, but not quite. And I was going really fast, really explosively, and you just can't do that on rings. The rings punish you if you don't do perfect form. So when I switched from bars to rings, all my reps completely dropped. I felt like a beginner again. You know, when I just started, I could barely do 5 ring dips. It took me a long time to even get to the ring turnout style of dips. And for 1 year I was doing this rings, doing rings. I found that I could do way less sets. I had to rest way longer between sets because my stabilizers would fatigue. And honestly, my original suspicions were right. I got smaller when I switched from the bars to the rings. I simply couldn't do as much volume. I had to rest much longer, and the stimulus wasn't the same. So my conclusion, this is probably very unpopular, my conclusion is that if you want to train for size and aesthetics, you don't really need the rings. In fact, the rings might be detrimental to your progress. Now, here are some caveats. I wasn't trying to do any special gymnastics strength moves. Maybe if I was trying to do those on the rings, it would unlock some more muscle growth. But, you know, I'm almost 40 years old. I'm not that interested in doing these cool tricks. I'm more interested in just staying in good shape, being strong, looking good, you know, having fitness. And the rings are just not necessary for that. And so what happened is, I'm trying to remember, I think it was like May or April of this year, I decided to get a doorway pull-up bar and start doing pull-ups on the door. And literally my back immediately exploded because I could do way more reps. I don't have to rest that much. My volume went from doing like 50 pull-ups, 100 pull-ups to I can do 100, 200 now in the same time frame. I completely stopped doing dips and really started to emphasize my push-ups. And you know, I started doing 200 push-ups a day. Now I'm doing 300 push-ups a day, and my chest, shoulders, arms just became a lot bigger versus when I was doing things on the rings. So, you know, I'm not saying don't do rings, but if you're gonna do rings, do it because it's fun. Do it to work on your form, to improve your movement, but don't switch to rings thinking that it's gonna help you grow more muscle. From my experience, it was actually completely the opposite. From my experience, the basics on the floor, on the bar, that's the best. And for me, like in my head, the reason that it's the best is because stabilizers are out of the question. When I'm doing push-ups, I can go as hard as I can. I can go until the reps are basically crawling slow. And as long as I'm staying tight, my triceps, shoulders, chest, they are the target muscle. They're the prime movers. They're the ones that are gonna fail, and they're the ones that are gonna grow. Whereas if I'm doing push-ups on the rings, of course, I'm gonna do half the reps that I could on the floor. And yes, I'm gonna get a pump, it's gonna feel awesome, but I don't even know what's actually failing. It's just like things start to shake and I can't really close it properly, and then I just got small. So this is my experience, you know. That's a lot of talking. I think I over talked my rest. I'm gonna do another set of ring muscle ups. Let's go. So for those that already have rings, there's some really good exercises that you could keep in your routine that are better on rings than they are on the bar. One of them is ring rows. Now, you know, a lot of people say that you have to have a horizontal pull in order to balance your shoulders if you do a lot of push-ups. I didn't find this to be true whatsoever. Most of the time, I don't do any horizontal pulling. I just do pull-ups and chin-ups. Now, I do the handstand push-ups, which hit the upper back quite hard as well. Once in a while, just for fun, if I'm really tired, I don't feel like doing pull-ups, I'll rig up my rings on my pull-up bar at home, and I'll do some horizontal rows. That's like a light day pulling exercise. And to be honest, it feels pretty good. Every time I do it, in my mind, I'm like, hey, I should do this more often. This is pretty cool. And maybe if I didn't have to like put the bar, set up the rings, if it was just easily accessible, maybe I'll do it more often. But if you guys haven't tried, it's a really great way. It's not just for people who can't do pull-ups yet. You can do it as a light day pulling exercise. You can do it as a finisher after your pull-ups, but it's really nice. I especially like to do the neutral grip. And so I will start with a pronated grip. That way I get a really good stretch on my lats. And then as I'm doing the rows, I will turn my hands in and really squeeze. Really squeeze. And honestly, my reps are not that high. I can maybe do like 20 reps, maybe 25 on a good day. It's not as easy as you think. But I just prefer doing good old standard pull-ups and chin-ups on the bar. I don't know what it is, maybe it's an old habit, but I just like to do those more than I like to do the rows, so I stick with them. And I haven't had any problems with my shoulders whatsoever. Now, everybody's different, everybody's body is different, your form might be different, your shoulder anatomy might be different, so you might need to do rows, but you might not. So you have to experiment for yourself. Don't take everything you read on the internet as gospel. A lot of people who are writing these recommendations, you need to do an equal amount of pulling as you do pushing. They haven't actually put in the work and trained themselves. A lot of them are just regurgitating information that they read online. So you need to really kind of try it for yourself and see how it feels. For me, my pushing volume is way higher than my pulling volume. Now, the way I justify it in my head, the pushing exercises are a lot easier. I can, it takes way more reps to get to failure. So I just do more volume. With pull-ups, my max is like 30, 25, depends on the day. But push-ups, I can do 60, 70, depending how long I'm resting at the top. So for me to do 5 sets of pull-ups, my back and arms get completely lit up. If I do 5 sets of push-ups, it just doesn't feel quite the same. So it's totally normal for me to do 10 sets of push-ups, 5 sets of pull-ups, or like 300 push-ups, maybe 75 pull-ups, 100 pull-ups. If I'm doing a dedicated pull day, I'll do 200. But this imbalance in volume is not a problem. It still works fine. The exercises don't scale equally. You don't have to do exactly 5 sets of push, 5 sets of pull. The body doesn't work like that. I think that the overuse, injuries, the imbalances are blown out of proportion. As long as you slowly increase your workload, as long as you use good form that doesn't hurt you, you should be totally fine. Like, think about athletes. Think about a tennis player, for example. He's constantly using one arm. Like, of course, they have to do some other balancing stuff on the other side, but that's way more repetitive exercise and it's really unbalanced, way more unbalanced than doing push-ups. And they seem to be doing okay. What about different jobs, like a roofer who's constantly working like this, or a librarian who has to put books on high shelves? All the jobs, all the activities that we do are asymmetrical, unbalanced, yet our body adapts just fine. So why wouldn't it be the same for training? Just do what you want to do and then take notes, listen to how your body reacts, and adjust accordingly. You're not a robot, you're not a machine. You can't download an instruction manual online that tells you this is exactly what you need to do and everybody's the same. You need to experiment with yourself and figure out what's needed, what's not needed. Like for me, the reason that I'm doing more push is because it's just, I need it. I need to get stronger on push. If I try to match the same pulling volume, I would overtrain. Or more realistically, I just don't have the time for it, I'm busy. So I emphasize that which I want to improve at, and I haven't had any issues with that. So that was a bit of a rant. It's time for another set. I got another few notes about rings. This is more related to pushing exercises than pulling exercises. Rings are actually a lot harder to recover from than just doing push-ups. So the reason is your nervous system has to stabilize all the shaking that's going on. I really noticed this when I just started doing the rings, but I'll do like a half an hour ring session and I'll be completely exhausted for the rest of the day. I would have to take a nap for a long time. I was just so tired. And this was never really a problem for me with push-ups or even regular dips. But with rings, I found that I needed more time to rest afterwards. So for me, this is not great, especially now that I'm a dad. I can be exhausted after my workout. I need to do training that offers the most benefit for the lowest fatigue cost. And the rings don't really fit that because of the extra fatigue generated stabilizing you. I don't know exactly how it works. I'm not an expert, but in my mind, it's because of this extra demand from the nervous system to keep things stable, right? To keep things from shaking. So you have this extra cost to doing rings, but it doesn't really come with an extra reward, at least from my experience. So it was a really easy choice to stop doing rings. You know, I tried it for a full year. Some guys will come in the comment and say, hey, you did the rings wrong. You need to learn how to do planche on rings, or you need to do front levers, handstand push-ups on rings. Oh man, all sounds amazing. Sometimes I watch videos of guys doing that and think, wow, this is cool. I have seen older men doing it too. But as I said before, there's the concept of a training economy. There's only so much time in the day. There's only so much recovery resources. So I'm gonna use these things for exercises that give me the best bang for the buck. And for me, from my experience, I've been lifting weights for many years, been doing calisthenics only for 3 years now. Those exercises are push-ups on the floor, maybe push-ups on a bar or on a curb, but basically push-ups on a stable surface. That was my alarm for my next set, but I'm gonna keep talking. Push-ups on the floor, push-ups on a bar, push-ups on a flat surface with full range of motion. Number one exercise. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. It can be done absolutely everywhere. There's no excuses really not to do it. Like you can't be like, oh, I don't have time to drive to the gym today, or I don't have time to go to the calisthenic park. You wake up, you do some push-ups. Even if you do it for 10 minutes, it's gonna make a big difference for you. Second exercise, pull-ups and chin-ups. You know, I group those two together. They're not different exercises. They're both pulling from a bar. Again, the bar is completely stable. You don't have to worry about stabilizing rings. You have this really nice reference point for range of motion. You know, your chin has to come above the bar. And because it's stable, you could pull fast and explosively. So you get to train your fast twitch muscles. Whereas on rings, you kind of have to pull in control. You know, for me, my back got smaller pulling in control. I get better gains doing it fast with explosiveness. It's like the sprinter versus the marathon runner. A sprinter is explosive. They run fast, they explode, and they have huge legs. So I believe that training fast and explosively is better for gaining muscle. And it seems to work. You know, my theories, I always test them on myself. Some things I'm wrong. You know, I make a hypothesis, I do some training, take some notes. If it doesn't work for me, I ditch it. If it works, I keep it. A lot of times I will send it to other people that I know. I have them experiment with training as well, and then we kind of decide what works and what doesn't, and we get rid of the stuff that doesn't. So yeah, push-ups, pull-ups will take care of your upper body. Once you're strong enough on your push-ups, you can do some handstand push-ups too, especially against the wall, because that doesn't really require any balancing skills. That will blow up your traps, shoulders, upper back. You don't have to rush into the handstand push-ups. You could spend a year or two, like I did, just doing regular push-ups and pull-ups. And only then you can introduce them. They're a more advanced exercise. There's no need to do any regressions or all these things. Just get strong on the basics. and then you'll be able to do your handstand push-ups against the wall. Like, you don't need to do it from the start. Do what you can, do a lot of it, get stronger, watch your muscles grow. And then when you're ready, you introduce the harder exercises. So basically, 3 exercises: push-ups, pull-ups and chin-ups, handstand push-ups. Now, you can also do dips. Dips are phenomenal. They're a great exercise for your triceps, for your chest, for your upper back as well, believe it or not, because you have to stabilize at the top. The reason I didn't include them in my list is because I don't have access to dips. I was thinking about getting, these parallel bars for the home, but they're always very short and you have to bend your knees. And I've tried those in the store before. It's just too easy to cheat. So I'm not getting them for now. Maybe I'll get them in the future. If you do have access to dips, do those too. So those are more accessible than the handstand push-ups. So you would do push-ups, dips, pull-ups, chin-ups. Very good combination. For your legs, squats, walking lunges, those should do the job. All right, I gotta do another set. All right, so I finished up all my ring muscle ups. I did 5 sets. Ended up doing 5 sets of 6. And my original plan was to rest 5 minutes, but making this video, I ended up resting a lot longer. Some sets were closer to 7 minutes. So just to sum up, just to wrap up, rings are very fun. I'm not gonna lie, they're very, very fun, especially ring muscle ups. And they are a great tool to refine your technique because they force you to go slow and to use control. So those are the biggest benefits for rings. Now, they are a lot more challenging, so you can't do as many reps. You can't do as much volume. So from my experience, I'm not an expert, I'm just a dude who's been training for a long time. From my experience, they are less effective for putting on size. They're less effective for hypertrophy. So, if you think that, I'm pretty good at push-ups already, it's time to graduate to rings, rethink that. That's just my experience. If your goal is size, aesthetics, if you want to look like a male stripper, all you need to do is the basics. You need to get very good at the basics. You need to do a lot of them, and you need to do them with high frequency. 4 days a week, 5 days a week. You need to smash the reps, hundreds of reps every single day. It will cut you up, it will pump you up, you're gonna feel great, and you're gonna look great. Like, remember, guys, I'm 39 years old. I have a little baby in the house. There's no dad bod. There's nothing. And it's because I'm training for my, 45 minutes, 1 hour a day of just push-ups and pull-ups. It definitely works. So I want you guys to leave a comment below for those that have done both bar work, floor work, and rings. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if I'm way off the ball here. Maybe I'm completely wrong and I just did rings wrong for a full year. Who knows? Maybe that's the case. And if I did rings, I would be 10 kilos heavier. I would be absolutely huge. No, I don't think so. But if that's the case, let me know in the comments what I did wrong. I can experiment again. I'm pretty open-minded. Or I should say, I try to be open-minded, Sometimes I get stuck and set in my own ways. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you enjoyed some of my sets. And see you later. Bye.